Good morning, Val. How's my sound here? How is
Y-
my sound?
A little bit tinny, a little
Is
bit,
it? Yeah.
not
Yeah,
too
I'm worried
bad.
about them. Yeah. Let me adjust things. Let's do a little sound test here. Goodness, okay,
It's
any
sounding
closer?
better. It's sounding a little
Is it,
better as you go.
is
Yeah.
it, is it better any closer like this, Val? Is
Yes, it
it better
is.
closer? Okay.
Yes.
Is it still okay? Is it good enough for radio quality sound, as they say?
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. So, Greg is
Let me
joining
do
us from Arizona City this morning. I'm joining you from an undisclosed location in Alberta, Canada. And we are just checking our lines this morning before we get going. We want to give you the best sound quality we can. With being in that undisclosed location in Alberta, I will say you may notice some interference, or it may sound like a B-17 bomber is going to like land very close to me. That, in fact, is true. I they own the sky this morning, so I am flying solo here, but they are circling overhead, and they've been doing that this morning. So if you hear what sounds like a B-17 bomber, you are in fact correct. That's what the noise is in the background. There are only 3 of them in operation today. Did you know that, Greg? Only 3 of those planes.
Wow, I love that post of that photo you put up there. What a beautiful plane. Only 3 left. By the way, Val, remember if it's loud tomorrow on the 1st, that might be the Blue Angels going over. Just want to let
Yes,
you know. Just
they
want to let
did
you know.
last year. That's right. They were on standby. They were on standby. And that video really captures the essence of the American spirit and our military. I must say a shout out to so many. You know, when they took the call to stand up for freedom, you never know which way it's going to go. You don't know what it's going to cost. And so, for so many who have lost loved ones, for so many that have made the ultimate sacrifice, we say thank you. We love our military.
Indeed, we do. Salutes to everyone out there in our military, in our law enforcement, in our first responders. There are many folks. I've done so much research this week, Val, as you can imagine, and I've been in close touch with the military folks. There's so many wounded people out there right now. These disabled vets, and military, of course, law enforcement. And one thing I thought of in my mind is, we're all wounded. We're all wounded in a certain way, some way. Not like these gentlemen were, but almost everyone I've run into has had wounds from their life that either they still feel or what have you. So may we all salute everybody out there, the military and stuff, and may we all salute ourselves too, for just getting through life, as they say, getting through life.
That's so good. I want to take a minute and just reflect on the journey that AB51vote.com has been. You spearheaded this, Greg. You are an integral part of helping Albertans find their freedom. For those that want to dream again, for those that have aspirations and a call in their heart and on their life, that they too want to come back to their roots. They want to come home to the USA. You've been a key part of that, and I know you've worked with me personally, but you've worked with so many because you made a commitment to these voters that you were going to walk this out. So, Greg, I want to just give you some time just to share what's on your heart this morning, what it's been like for you.
Wow, this is only a 1 hour show, right? You have about 3, 4 days. Journey, a journey is an understatement. My first shout out is to an investigative journalist that I know named Val Olson, because you really have been there literally since the very first cell call, Val. The very first cell call. I'm asked so many times of why I did this. I'm a, I think someone even on the air had questioned Mike Phillip. Why is a Quebec guy who's living in the States meddling in Alberta politics, right?
That's right.
And so why I was called, I'll just say that very, very clearly. I was called, whether willingly or not. And there's a pattern that I see with most of the leaders involved in this group. They're called too. I really believe the more, I'll tell you what, if I get emotional today, please forgive me. Okay, Val?
You just go
There
right
were,
on ahead. This is emotional and real.
yeah, yeah, it's, almost everybody I've run into, and I've run into hundreds and hundreds of people personally during this last year and a half, and both referendum oriented and also just personally. And one thing I see, especially amongst leadership, and I'll just say it. I'll say the Val Olsons of the world, the Greg Meekins of the world, the Mike Phillips of the world, the Sheriff Mark Lambs of the world, the Gordon Kesslers of the world, the Ben Ebels of the world. I mean, these people were in from the very beginning. I just salute you guys, and it was just my thrill, my pleasure, really, to learn so much, to feel so much. I look at life differently now, Val. Never mind Alberta, just because of how the whole process evolved. This has been almost a 2-year journey, Val. Um, if you remember, exactly 1 year ago, because you released it. I mean, exactly 1 year ago was the Blue Angels video saying, by the way, we're holding a referendum. It's going to be June 30th, 2023. And I
Yeah.
even wrote this is going to start at 10:30 in the morning, Alberta time. That was a year. That was a year ago, Val. That was a year ago, Val.
Wow.
And so if anyone has sees any copies of that Blue Angels video, they'll be all over the place tomorrow. I guarantee you. Share it. Okay. Share it for what it is. And what it is, the United States of America welcomes you back, welcomes Alberta back to the family of freedom. And I simply can't believe, here we go, Val, like Mr. Impromptu here. You were there when I released this video, and it was so important to release it on the 1st. And it was 10 o'clock at night because
Yes.
my internet was down. I said, Val, this is all yours. If you can release it, because I wanted to timestamp it on the 1st of July. And honestly, in looking back, tell you what, when you look back on your past work, your not only your body of work, but just your past work, this last week or two, just reviewing the past 2 years and the people that I've met and the Albertan voters that I've personally talked with, including on the phone. I talked on the phone last night to 3 Alberta voters who were undecided, and one of them was a no, because I wanted to let them know. Their vote counts.
So you're telling me you phoned, you went into the data center and you actually talked to the no voters, people that voted no. I know there was not very many, but you actually reached
Oh,
out last night.
absolutely. It's what I've as anyone who knows, I've approached this as a CEO would, analyzing basically a business situation, and also as a good salesperson would. A highly trained salesperson does introduction calls, he does presentations, and then he always, whether a person bought his product or her product or didn't, or bought someone else's product, you always call, and the rule is within 24 hours. You always call the next day and thank them for coming into the dealership or to the showroom or to the radio station. Because whether you're a yes, whether you're a no, or whether you're an undecided, thank you. Thank you for participating, because a lot of people in the world, Val, right now are not participating. They're not lifting a finger, Val. A lot. So
That's
I
true.
respect every single person. And I know who you are. I promise you. Every single person who voted on the ab51.com website, I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and your votes counts. And as you will hear probably early in the show, that there are a lot of people, individual people, whose vote was recognized and counts in my poll, which is handicapping what percentage of Albertans would vote yes, no, or undecided to the question of, do you want Alberta to be the 51st state of the U.S.? Yes, no, undecided. And I have my number, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But what I've really discovered, I'll tell you what, Val, I'm on 2 other shows later on today and this evening, and what I've discovered is from a real personal standpoint, is there are a lot of people out there, Val, that are really disenfranchised and frustrated. And I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you right now and right this second, I've never run into so many people, and I mean people and organizations that are completely frightened of their government. I have had phone conversations, whether it's to voters or leaders or what have you. And there was a question of whether they were concerned that their phones were being monitored, Val. Okay. I don't get phone calls like that normally, Val. We're used to, at least in my business world, straightforward business. But again, in the political world, there are now elements happening and a fear happening, honestly, I've never seen in my life. These people are simply afraid to put their name in a database, because of what happened in the convoy and the GoFundMe accounts, the freezing of bank accounts. There are people that I know are 80-51 yes voters that are completely frightened and staying in the closet, Val. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And that's just not the way it is in America. I'm not used to this. This was an eye opener for me. And but the numbers, the numbers illustrated something to me that I knew, but I really didn't know. I didn't know the fear up there, Val. I mean this from my heart. I wouldn't say this if it wasn't from the heart. There's enough shenanigans going on in the United States, as you know. And the United States I've joked, is a grease fire unto itself, right? But every 4 years, we can kick a loser president out of office, okay? But you cannot, up in Canada, have that type of decisive control. And I think it's reflected to me right now in you Albertans, and you know who you are listening right now. You're afraid of your government, right? So there you go. That was my first rant of the day, Val. Here we go.
That was a behind the scenes sneak for those of you that logged in early this morning, and you kind of got a sample of what the show's going to be all about today. This is the Alberta 51 podcast. I'm your host, Val Olson, and we are right on time. We're right on schedule. So for those of you that are joining us from bunkers down under, from your home, while you can still access news, it's a special day because it's been announced that in Canada that news streams will be shut down. So this is a very, very important broadcast. So to those of you taking the time, maybe you're listening from offices, in high places this morning, internationally too, we know that there's a lot of attention and focus on Alberta. We welcome you. We are all friends here. Our mission is to deliver the truth. As easy as that. There is no secret agenda. If you have questions, those questions are likely going to get answered today because it's all about spilling everything, right? The numbers are coming out. We're going to talk about the right from conception to where we are today with the Alberta 51 vote. And Greg, for those that are joining and possibly haven't voted yet, is the portal still open? That's ab51vote.com.
Yes. As promised, the referendum day is June 30th, 2023, which is today. And the portal is open officially till midnight tonight, as promised. But you know what, Val? Here's what we're going to do. because I've really been thinking this in the last 24 hours. A lot has happened, a lot of activities in the last 24 to 48 hours, a lot. And what I'm saying, okay, the numbers are tallied. We're following it literally today, Val, as we speak. You know, I have my secret guy, Dave, my secret agent, Dave guy, IT guy. We're watching every vote that comes in. So any vote comes in today, feel free. You can vote yes, you can vote no, or you can vote undecided. I'm going to keep, as a matter of fact, the numbers are already in. We're going to be tallying again the numbers as of midnight tonight. But what I'm going to do, thank God we're in the private sector down here in the United States. We can make the rules down here, right? We make the rules.
That's right.
I once had a high-end CEO in the Toyota world who once told one of his younger managers who was complaining about how he ran the place.
Yes.
And this is a CEO. He's still working, actually. He's like 90 years old, still running is still doing his job. And he said, well, why don't you tell that younger manager that this dealership, this corporation is not a democracy. Okay. It's a dictatorship, and I'm the dictator. Okay.
Oh,
So if you want to pay $10 million to put your name on a sign in the dealership, you can call the shots. Okay. So the private sector is really nice that way in the United States. You tend to get more yes and no answers than you do in Canada. Don't let me go there, Val. But the nice thing about it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the voting open, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold it open at least about a week, Val.
oh
It's
wow.
everything's like unofficial, anyways.
Hmm.
We have our tallies. If any yes votes come in after this, you know what it's called? It's called the icing on the cake, Val.
I like that.
But I'm going to leave it open at least a week. TBA, okay? Would you keep your network posted on this when I let you know? It'll be at least a week as usual. I'll probably put another date on it. But it does cost money and stuff and people to operate these things, so it won't be any long term extension. But it'll be enough, because I'll tell you what, as usual, so much of the world runs in the 11th hour. You know, the 11th hour, and just see how things are going. And then they jump on in the last. It's like, imagine this, Val. Voting day, I can't believe this. Voting day in Alberta, this last election, there were 932,000 people who walked to the polls and voted. Not online, but they voted in person. So, and it'll tend to very often be last minute like that. So either way, I don't want to cut anything short as far as if there are yes votes out there, including no and undecided. I still want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We learn with everybody who votes, Val. We got votes from 136 cities so far.
Wow.
So
Yes.
no one can tell me this is a regional thing, Val. With exception, just like down here in the States, on one hand, the major cities usually run elections in North America, Canada, and the U.S. The major cities. I won't say the word Toronto or Montreal or anything I'll say that off the air. Toronto, uh, but but in this case, I think we reached all of Alberta, Val. At least a really amazing cross section of people from cities I'm embarrassed to say I've never heard of. There's 136 of them. So that was really cool. And once again, hand in hand with the theme of we want the people's voice to be heard and their vote to count. So that's the ongoing theme, and I'm more optimistic every moment that I just work with Alberta and see these votes come in. So indeed, if people still want to vote, go ahead. And indeed, if they want to just comment or opine, we've got a lot of comments because we have either vote or comment, including if you're not a voter. So feel free to comment, say hi. So I'll leave that open at least a week, Val.
Later in the show, I want to ask you, what did you hear back from some of these no voters? And if you didn't get a hold of them, like, did you leave them messages? Because I know that many of them are following this. And just to
Really
have
good.
that one-on-one interaction is pretty cool. So we'll get into that in the show, because this has really been handled to show
Yeah.
how to have a referendum, how to have the people's voices heard,
Right.
how to be able to authenticate everything that you're saying, because it's all about reputation, right? Reputation
Right.
is your currency, and
Right.
honesty and integrity. And I love that. That's what really, kept me going this past year, is the people that we're working with right from the very top. This goes to the very top, right to those of us who maybe feel at the very bottom, and will our voices be heard? This is really, it's just it's a made in America initiative, with the we the people having their voice heard. And that's so important, because I am boots on the ground in the trenches here in Alberta, and I've been like all over the province in the last 30 odd days, and people are scared. It's real. Fear has crept in. Many are scared to get involved because of retaliation, perhaps, or they're concerned what the consequences will be. Will it be their job? Will it be their source of income? There's a lot of concern how this could negatively impact them. It's it's real. You don't stop and think about Canada being your closest neighbor to the U.S., and there's a real fright on how are we going to feed our kids. I noticed it even going into the stores. Just, we have a surplus of supply, whereas here, there's so many times it caught me off guard to see that the shelves, aren't full of supplies. Uh, the price of beef is just unimaginable. Very few could afford to feed their families properly. And these are the discussions that I'm having boots on the ground. And so when they hear about AB51vote.com, what that is, what that could look like for them, it's like their eyes light up, but then fear is there too. So it's a real battle psychologically. And I'm just here today to say today is an exciting day. Okay. It doesn't stop today. There's no end in sight when you're talking about freedom. Freedom is a lifelong journey that you have to want, right? You have to fight for. And that's what's exciting about this. Today is a big day because we're going to let some big news come out, news that's going to encourage you, give you hope, and also just show you that you're not the little guy, okay? You're not just a nobody. You are a somebody, and there is a plan for your life, and there is an invitation. So crank this radio show up and take some notes, get involved. We're happy you're here. It's the Alberta51podcast.com. You can listen on demand. Greg Meekin is I'm just going to let you cut loose, Greg, and just share what's on your heart this morning. Wherever you want to go, take the floor.
Cut me loose. Goodness, I'll tell you what, I haven't done that in so many years, Val. I'm a really well-behaved guy, and I don't play sports anymore, so I don't cut loose, okay? I'm thinking of maybe taking up pickleball really slowly, because
Nice.
now I have my hip replaced, but that's about
Yes.
it. But to cut me loose, if you don't mind, I'll take some time. Is my sound okay here? Seriously? Does it still sound tinny and stuff, or
No,
because I'm very
it's
concerned
perfect.
about that? It's
You're
okay.
good.
If it's okay, I'll just ask permission to take the floor as you've granted already. But because I'll be going over the numbers. Be going over some ideas and stuff. But just give me license here, all the listeners out there. As I'm just going to pick up my legal pad right now, and I'm going to give you.
It's all yours.
I'm when you hear people, Val, that are called close to the vest.
Yes.
Have you ever met anyone more close to the vest than Greg Meekin?
No, it's scary. And you deliver. Like, if I doubt you, you've had people call me on my cell phone, and I'm don't know what to say because you deliver.
Under promise and over deliver. That's the Toyota way. Under promise and over deliver. And it's amazing what happens. Again, I might run off on tangents or have to jump branches here, but I'm just going to chat a little bit. And yes, I'm going to go over the numbers. I'm going to go over, as a matter of fact, I have a legal pad in front of me. That's the yellow ones. Do you know have you ever heard of a legal pad before, Val?
That's the one the lawyers use, the yellow one, the
Right,
official legal
right,
pad. So you're talking,
right.
this is the official legal pad you're reading off of.
Right. And
Okay.
a lot of young people, there are two generations down there that don't know what a legal pad is. So I was just checking with you. And then, usually I work with the little legal pads, the smaller ones,
Yeah.
those are more user friendly, but are those now called illegal pads or something? What? So anyhow, I got my yellow, and this is the way we used to do business in the 80s and 90s. We were business guys, and we wanted to simply find out what the truth of a situation. The truth, the numbers don't lie, and quote, what do we do from here? What do we do from here? And that's the way I approached it. I did. It sounds cliche, but I approached it as a CEO who's looking to invest in a company. CEOs and anyone who does due diligence, called due diligence when you research a company, they're not concerned about the politics, what people say, what the conversations are back and forth, who's arguing on Facebook. They want to know, what are the numbers? Is this a good business or not? In Las Vegas, you handicap things, which is this turned out to be more of a handicapping situation, which I'll talk about in this situation, where you simply say, okay, if I had a great big barrel full of money, and I went to Las Vegas, would I put it on this number or not? Yes or no? Once you get to commitment on people's part, or as I say, money changing hands, lifting a finger, that's where most quote deals stop, right? And so I approach this very much like I would put my reputation on it, and yes, my money on it.
Wow.
So that's how and that's the way, if you ever watch an episode of Shark Tank, or up there, I think it's Dragon's Den.
Right.
That's what they do. But what's the truth? What's the truth? So I'm just going to ramble a little bit with that preamble. I'll now ramble a little bit, if that's okay. I'll put on my old guy glasses here. I'm just going to ramble a little bit, because I'm going to give some really important factors that we use. All CEOs use factors, meaning situation, how we're approaching this. And I'll just go off the top of my head here. The no's you mentioned earlier, no's did not participate, Val. And there were just a handful, Val.
Wow. There really wasn't any then.
The lift a finger pioneer folks who jumped in and voted and stuff, for the longest time, it was 97% yes, 96, 97, and 2% undecided, 1% no. I mean, he's one of those. And the one common denominator I found, and I apologize to you no's out there, I just found them angry.
Mm-hmm.
Even giving smart remarks on the comments section, like, you don't need my phone number, what? But it only came from the no's, Val. So
Kind of aggressive a little bit.
I think that's a secret from the inside right there, Val. Okay, this is really, really important. I want to tell people up front who was excluded from the poll numbers. I want to start with that. Who's excluded? And because this became less of a referendum and more of a yes petition. It was a yes vote show, right?
The yes vote show. I like it. I love it.
Okay, how do I corral this? Well, the polling process, and I'm saying polling process, it took a really nice evolution, probably at one or two different pivots completely. I didn't realize this was a citizens' initiative, not a referendum. Referendum involves both sides of the aisle. We didn't see any side of the aisle here, Val. So what
Wow.
I did is I took the bull by the horns on this. You'll be able to attest to this inside, secret from the inside, as will the Gordon Kesslers of the world. And I have a few other consultants I use to while I work through these numbers because I wanted to be right. I really wanted to be right. And so here's who I've excluded. If anyone has any notepads out there, you might want to get your pen handy on this one. Here's who excluded. Are you sitting? Are you sitting down, Val?
Yes, I'm down.
Okay. I've excluded any votes from the NDP. 0 votes
Makes
from the
sense.
NDP.
Yeah.
I have excluded the Green Party. I'm counting it as 0 votes just to be on the safe side. I didn't even want to go 1 or 2%. I want to be on the safe side. So that's 0. Okay.
Yeah.
So zero NDP, 0 Green, 0 solidarity, 0 reform. But but one that was included was the best 377 no's I ever received. And that was from the Communist Party in Alberta. And they had what I love about, and again, I just want to find out the other point of view. I don't
Right.
need to fight or argue with anybody over things that we're not going to change. So I like to pick people's mind, and you know this, Val. And I was actually I'm not going to say impressed. How can you be impressed about communists? But they said who they are. They do what they say. They're angry at the United States, so they were a pure no, 100% no. I'm going cool. At least they have some no's now, right? 377 no's. The United States is an awful place because it's capitalism. And the thing I took from it is Canada is also an awful place because it's not communist enough. So I'm going, cool. I wanted that point of view. I'm so proud of my communists because they told the truth to me.
Can I just ask a question about that? So you spoke to the Communist Party leader, or did you speak to all of the Communist Party members?
Yeah. Sadly, in order to get to 2.8 million registered voters in Alberta, I couldn't talk one-on-one to all 2.8 million. In this case, I go to the top in life. There are two wonderful gals there, and I spoke to. It's public record. I spoke to Naomi, leader of the Communist Party. No, Communist Party, and it was a nice chat, and we shook hands and went away friends. So
What
I go
I
to the top.
find what I find interesting about that is that just puts exactly what communism is all about. Notice
Correct.
that the leader decides your fate. So if you
Correct.
were a communist, right, you look to the leader to tell you what
Correct.
your lot
Correct.
in life is going to
Correct.
be. So
Correct.
that's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I love long form radio because that was one of the most interesting conversations I had because I'd said, of all the examples out there, including all the socialist parties, I think there's something like 32 third parties down in the United States. Many of them socialist, though. Socialist / communist / Marxism, whatever. It's the same thing to me. I'm
Yep.
from Quebec. Okay, so it's the same thing to me. And the one common denominator I see is they don't have any answers and they don't know how to fund anything. Because my question was, okay, of all the communist / socialist countries in the world, the Venezuelas, the happy Russias, the whatever, which one would you model yourself after and whatever? And not one has succeeded. I exclude Russia here, but the Venezuelas and stuff. Not one true communist model has succeeded. So what makes you different? Right? Standard question. And the answer always seems to be, I think, is well, they haven't done it our way yet. They haven't done it our way yet. Like that one person. And I'm saying, I've heard this for 40 years in the U.S. press from liberals. Well, they haven't done it our way yet. So I'm going, okay, fine. But bottom line, so what do we do now? And what they do is complain about Canada until Canada becomes communist enough. But apparently it's on the right track of communism because they choose staying in Canada before going into the United States. Again, it taught me a lot. I just want to learn every day, and it taught me a lot. And I respect them. I respect anyone out there who just tells the truth and is willing to shake hands and go away friends. So I went on a communism roll there, but A couple of quick intros, and I'm going to go straight to the number. The caveat I now would put right now for anyone who chooses to vote, whether it's in any, by the way, there were 2 additional quote polls going on simultaneous to mine that started after mine. And so the numbers kind of are quote skewed, if you will, because the movement's happening, but it's not quite organized in some ways. But the one thing I would put as the caveat is I would not allow any Albertan to vote in an AB 51 election, referendum, citizen initiative. I wouldn't let any Albertan vote before they read a simple brochure. And believe it or not, I'm going to be producing. It's going to be 2, maybe 3-page brochure with just the facts and the realities and the truth. And I'll leave it at that right now, but just some basic knowledge. I am blown away. And this is as an outside observer, Val. I apologize to anyone up there. There's my Canadian side, right? I'm apologizing already. But I do apologize if anyone, because I'm going to talk really direct today. If anyone does feel offended or whatever, I think it's really important just to lay out the facts right now, and again go from here. I simply cannot believe how little, including from the most knowledgeable people who think they are knowledgeable, how little people know about the issues and the facts. Just facts here. And there's as much arguing sometimes from within as from without. So it's just, I see a brochure and really it's simplifying everything. The 2 pages that are on the ab51vote.com website. Okay, those 2 pages, one called Daily Life in Alberta. It's what probably will be right in the brochure. And the other is what a state constitution in Alberta would look like. And it's, I think, about 16 points. And those will that might be the inside flap of the brochure, maybe the outside flap, but that's most of it right there. But if folks could really just learn some basics, and I mean, Val, on both sides. Okay. So there's my little rant there. Because I really believe if it is a simple brochure was mandatory reading, I really think that it would be surprising to a lot of folks. Okay.
We do have that accessible on the website. So if you're following along and want to read the brochure portion of what it would look like from day one of Alberta USA, what will it look like? What will you enjoy? That is what is switching the no voters to yes. And I know that personally because I'm a real like community connector. A lot of people describe me as community wired. And it's all about just talking, right? It's not anything more than just saying, hey, what do you think? I've got a yes or no question for you. And like I sought out trying to find no's and share with them the realities of, well, what would it look like?
Right.
Like if you're not prepared to say yes or no, what do you think it'll look like? And they don't know, but they want to know. So do you think I could take a minute and just kind of read over?
You must be a mind reader. You must have ESP. Anything I produce is really called a Greg's List. I do bullet points. And so they read like, hello, a brochure. If you would, you're the best reader I know. I say, you should be a 4th grade teacher reading to kids. It really is easy to understand. You're a good reader. If actually the Daily Life, if you could just blast through those in bullet point, and if you want the state as well, state constant, it might be worth, because it won't be long. They're short bullet points. That might be worth kind of getting on tape here. You know what I mean? For future clips or something. But if you could do that, I'll assign this 2-minute reading assignment to Val Olson of Val Olson News. How about that?
All right. Well, we're all friends here, so sit back, sip your coffee while I go through from day one of Alberta USA. You will enjoy. Number 1, dual citizenship forever. Number 2, retain Canadian citizenship. Number 3, new Alberta healthcare, just like Canada, but American world-class care. Number 4, pensions guaranteed in US dollars. Number 5, 45 cents per liter gas. Number 6, groceries reduced 25%. Number 7, 3 times the selection of consumer goods. Number 8, 75% less taxes. No provincial income tax, carbon tax, etc. Number 9, work at any U.S. company. Number 10, unrestricted travel to 50 other states. Number 11, no language laws. Number 12, household income jumps 25% plus. Number 13, easy to start a business. Number 14, free to own legal firearms. Number 15, 50% lower utility bills. Number 16, choose from 3 to 5 schools for kids. No cost education. Number 17, cell phone bills drop to $75 per month or less. And if people have more ideas, like if we're missing something off this list, by all means, that's the best part. You can reach out, and that's what it's about in Alberta, USA, is you get a say, you get to create. And speaking of that, the Alberta State Constitution, I'm going to read from the State Constitution, Alberta, USA, which you can find on ab51vote.com in the right-hand corner of your screen. In addition to the protection featured in most U.S. states, the following is a snapshot of rights that can be written specifically into the new State Constitution of Alberta, USA. Premium Alberta healthcare for all citizens at no or low cost. Multi-school choice at no cost to parents. Pensions guaranteed in U.S. funds. No state income tax or carbon taxes. Free speech, press, and assembly. Right to own legal firearms. State, police, military protection, and border security. Generous royalties to citizens for oil profits. No unlawful search and seizure, including freezing of bank accounts. Stop equalization payments.
Wow, Val, beautiful. How tough was it for you to not make comments on some of those and jumping up and down for joy?
Well, it's hard. It's hard because it's so exciting.
And honestly,
talk about a quality of life upgrade. That's what I say. Quality of life upgrade.
That form is, the state constitution is such an important point, but that form of daily life in Alberta, I really mean it. I'll take 100 arguments on that, but it's just what I discovered moving from Quebec to the States. And if people do question anything or don't like those daily life benefits, fine. It's a free country. But for example, I think it's Kuwait or Saudi, they charge 14 cents per liter for gas. It happens when you have tons and tons of oil available. So,
yeah.
Again, great job on the list, the checklist. Folks, do check out that on ab51vote.com. It's called Daily Life for Albertans and what a state constitution in Alberta would look like. And these two things are the things that, again, a CEO would look at. We don't need to hear the political discussion. We don't need to hear banter back and forth of how smart everybody is. We need to know what life's going to look like. We need to know what a state constitution is going to look like. And those, I think, I'm really proud of that blueprint because there was a lot of work put into that. But it's still an estimate. Everything in life is an estimate. Everything's a guesstimate. But I really like what we did, not only that site, but I like how clear the numbers came out. With no further ado, do you want me to go through some numbers, Val?
It's that time.
And we owe it to the listeners and stuff. For any of the old folks out there that remember Geraldo Rivera in his investigative journalist days before Fox News, and he did literally, I think it was a 2 or 3 hour live special on Al Capone's tomb. He was breaking into Al Capone's tomb for the first time in Chicago. And everybody we hung and hung and hung on it for multi hours. And it turned out There was nothing in the tomb, zero. And it's called never over promise and under deliver. So in this case, let's get to the numbers. If everyone has their pens handy, what I'm going to do, I am not going to name any parties or any groups. I'm going to keep this really simple. I'm going to read through a list, simply a list of verified yes votes. I'm going to keep, as they used to say in the FBI show back in the 60s, I'm going to keep the names. I'm not going to talk names to protect the innocent, as they say, because it's not important.
Yes.
It's not important for the most part. And I talked to a number of party leaders, Val, and they know who they are. And a number of groups. We've had entire shows about groups. And here are the numbers. I'm going to go from low to high with every group or party of yes votes. I'm going to go from low to high. This makes it easy for my terrible math brain to follow, and it's in descending order. I don't know whether I'll publish this in the future, but these are clear yes votes. I'm going to go from the low number. The first number is 106. 106. Verified yes votes. Next number is 462. Okay. The next number is 536. The next number is 2,766. The next number is 2,945. Then 4,145. The next number is 9,742. The number after that is 11,443. The number after that is 127,470.
Wow.
The number after that is 145,640. Okay. And the last number, the number after that, last but not least, is 370,981. Okay.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another small group as well. I make a side note here, 614. Okay. And that totals 698,035 from 136 cities. 698,035. Okay. Now, what these are to me, and Val Olson of Val Olson News, I will go to Vegas with this number. And I don't gamble, but before I was married, in the old days of being a little young car manager, I did gamble, and I loved to gamble on NFL football. And I woke up one day and said, did I really bet $1,200 on Sunday's games? I never lost. I almost lost, but Peyton Manning on Monday Night Football bailed me out. I broke even, and I never gambled again. I just didn't like that. So those are the numbers. Fact checkers, if my calculator is broken, my math is terrible, go ahead and fact check me. We have 698,035 yes votes for Alberta 51, period. How's that?
It's incredible. And what I love about this, to be a part of this team, is I've had access to verify and authenticate that these are not just numbers, these are names of citizens of Alberta. This is their voice. And since day one, they have been crying out to be heard. Does anybody see us? Will anybody help us? And, it takes a lot of courage when times are like they are here, and there is fear. There is genuine fear in these people's hearts and minds. And to be able to stand up together as one. It just shows you're not just a little unaccounted for ant. But when the people come together and they speak up and they speak out, the USA hears you loud and clear. And I just want to take a minute just to thank those from the very top. It's just been an incredible journey to go right to the very top, to see how things happen, and right down to the at-home level of the people that are hurting and crying in Alberta. Do you remember that day, Greg, you and I talked about the bank accounts being frozen, or pastors being put in jail, or there's still some Albertans that are in jail? You know, I cried because these are my friends, my neighbors, my community, and I'm just one. I'm just one of many experiencing just the depth of how discouraging it is to be caught in a situation like this where you don't know what to do. And now to learn today, and I put my name behind this, to be able to be a part of this, to show that you are not the little, you are the many, and it's time to rise. And you know, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, what political party you're in. This is about doing the right thing. And I'm excited to hear. I really hope you're going to get into, you know, what comes next. What comes on July the 1st, 2023?
Well, boy, that's a loaded question right there, Val. I'm pretty worn out already. We'll see what tomorrow brings, right? July 1st, 2023. I'm going to take a complete break. It is July 1st, 2023 is Alberta 51 Independence Day, which we have already announced
Yes.
1 year ago. So I'm probably going to listen to the Blue Angels video, which, by the way, I think that went viral already, Val, in the past. I'm so proud of the
Yes.
Blue. I'll tell you what, here's Inside Scoop. Okay. Remember, just blabbing today. I thank you for this opportunity. The Blue Angels video, it's one of the most, it's something I produced from scratch. With a wonderful voiceover gentleman that Mike Phillip at American Radio had referred to me, Chris Branham. He has the greatest voice in the world. It starts with, in 2020, woke Canada canceled Canada Day. Do you remember that? And the
How could I
United
forget?
States of America is happy to oblige. So July 1st, tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned, is Alberta 51, Alberta Independence Day. And I have a funny feeling that Blue Angels video is going to get some traction again. I'm really pleased because you remember this, Val. I'm really pleased and proud because that video was really the first thing that I produced. I did all kinds of stuff in the past, but I produced from scratch, including all the photos that were chosen, the mock-ups, the music. Believe it or not, I kid you not, Val, I woke up this morning. You know, I wake up to a song in my head every morning. That's kind of a weird thing. But this morning I woke up to Classical Gas from Mason Williams. I kid you not. 1968. I was 9 years old. And that happens to be the music used in the Blue Angels video. So if you haven't seen the video, peek at it because of all, there are very few things I kind of, as you know, Val, no matter what, I'm a humble guy, at least in public, and very few things I will say that I'm really proud of in that Blue Angels video. I am, and it gets better every year. But honestly, where that started from, I read a newspaper article and heard at the time, and heard that the snowbirds were canceled over Ottawa. They had all year to figure it out, but all of a sudden they had mechanical problems, Val. Life changed for me when I heard the snowbirds canceled and canceling Canada Day. But most importantly, and I mean this, I lived in Canada. I'm a full Canadian citizen, but born, thank God, in the United States. I got my full citizenship when I was 15 because my mom was worried about my brother and I being drafted to Vietnam. So, as Judy Collins says, I've looked at life from both sides now. And after this referendum, I've now looked at it from up and down too. And I'll tell you one thing, I love Canada, Val. You know, I played hockey in Montreal since I was 5 years old. Played hockey on the Montreal Forum ice and played hockey with Wayne Gretzky down in Arizona. I'm a hockey guy. I love Canada. I love my hockey. I love my Montreal. But life changed for me. Life changed for me, Val, when Justin Trudeau froze those bank accounts. It changed. And I'm sharing here from the heart, of course. It changed for me because I said, I voted for his father twice. I still can't believe it, but anyhow, long story. My mother told me to. She was a liberal. My mother told me to vote for Pierre Trudeau or she'd lose her pension, her teacher's pension. So I did. And but even now, I say I voted for Justin Trudeau twice. I voted in two Quebec provincial referendums. Allowed no, N-O-N, allowed no. I was a nationalist. I loved him. But when I saw Justin Trudeau do that, I said to myself, I kid you not, this is inside my heart. I said, you know, his father, I covered him in the press in 1978. I voted for him twice. His father was clearly, he was Marxist / communist, Marxist, whatever, leaning liberal. But not even Pierre Trudeau was stupid enough to freeze Canadians' bank accounts. And I said, I'm just done. This is new Canada to me. I remember my old Canada. My old Canada, I get weepy for because it's not there anymore, Val. And so life changed for me, and I praise God. I thank God that I was born in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I really do. And for some reason, 2 years ago when this AB 51 thing came up, for some reason, God took my heart and said, he said, help these people. Help these people find freedom, okay? Because nothing feels better than freedom. In 1776, the United States fought for it. And you know what? In 2023, it feels great. Don't believe the media. Don't believe the news. Freedom feels great. It feels better. And so I'll leave it at that for now before I get emotional. What's next? What's next, Val, is this is a Winston Churchill. This is just the beginning. You know, this is the end of it. What is it? The end of the beginning. And but either way, I'm proud, and this is one of my little announcements. I'll say things on the air, hopefully that are new, because that's what live radio is all about. I chatted with my wife today, and her birthday is July 6th, which is after the 1st and after the 4th, because the 4th of July last year we declared, U.S. Independence Day. It's a big day down here. We're going to celebrate the 1st of July for our Canadian friends. But I looked at my wife this morning. I said, boy, I'm so glad to have this concluded. And I'm really going to be happy to move on and to retire again. But in my heart, I have what I need to move on. And what I needed was just a little briefcase with maybe a little white paper report. I will be chatting with folks in the United States Senate about this. It will, remember this. This is very important to everybody. Very important. This is not, even with the U.S. Senate, going to go quickly. Don't expect to wake up and see something happen. My prediction all along as a CEO, once again, a shark without the money. How about that? There's a good quote. But I see this as a 2024 play. It's called 2024 play on the new Republican administration. And I believe that's the way it's going to go down. I'll be very honest. I'm as disappointed and heartbroken in the United States during this Biden administration. And I cannot, Val, believe what I'm seeing every day down here in the States. But we're a republic down here, okay? My next book coming up is Why I Came to America, and Can We Even Fix This Mess? And my answer is, in the U.S., it might not be pretty, but we'll fix it. We can kick out a loser president, like people would say they could kick out a President Trump if he didn't perform. In presidents in the future, we can kick out a loser president every 4 years, and the founding fathers wanted to make sure of that. The founding fathers were also really, really smart guys, Val. really throw out all the PC nonsense and all the censor canceled doc stuff. The founding fathers of the United States, let's call it 1776, they knew that they had an incredible desire to partner with Canada or any Canadian provinces. Yes, because of the amazing natural resources, but also because of the people. And the founding fathers of the United States made sure that if any Canadian province, they used the word province, wants to come back to the family of freedom and be a U.S. state, the red carpet's rolled out, the welcome mat is there. The only caveat is, and this was the founding fathers, they said it must receive a 50 plus, basically 50 plus one vote in the United States Senate. Because if the Senate's not okay with it, we're not interested. So knowing that, and now seeing this day to day, and this day tomorrow, yeah, I'm happy. I'm
Oh,
happy.
you're cutting
Yeah.
out, Greg. You're cutting out a little bit, so I'm just going to let
Okay.
you
Okay.
just find a new spot. Okay, keep
No,
going.
good. I will. As a matter of fact, I've taken the mic for long enough here, Val. I'll turn it back to you for a few minutes. Your reactions, your feedback, and stuff. I thank everybody. I thank everybody for participating, for following, for listening today. I thank everybody. Tell you one thing I've learned, Val. There's a lot of trolls and operatives out in the world right now, and I've never seen anything more prevalent than Canada. It breaks my heart. People that are paid. Excuse me. Can you still hear me, Val? Is my sound okay?
I can hear you. You're coming
Okay.
through loud
People
and
that are
clear. Carry on. You were just at the part. I'll just surmise there. You were just talking about the bottom feeders that are really making it hard on Albertans. Carry on from there.
yes. And one of my big caveats for the referendum or any referendum in the future is, of course, read the brochure, become educated, but also may there be no shenanigans in the election. May there be no trashing, canceling, just trying to destroy another human being to win an election. May there be less of that. Okay. We're really getting burned out of that on that in the States. The divisiveness and some of the most divisive people in the world say they're the most inclusive. So the caveat for any referendum is read the brochure, and I pray, which I feel actually good about, that it's a clean election. A clean election is a happy election. That there's no ballot harvesting, there's no shenanigans. More so again in the States. I was, as a side note, Val, I was really impressed as an outside observer how Alberta ran their election this last election with Danielle Smith being elected. I was really impressed. They had results in 24 to 48 hours, really clear, defined, transparent results. I'm sure Canadians will have a lot to say about that. But as an American, we, even to this date, have no idea what the vote count was in Arizona down here in Maricopa County. So kudos to Alberta. It looks like when the referendum official, if that's the way it comes out, happens, I really am confident that things will run very well, very clear, and very transparent. But I do encourage all the trolls and operatives and people out there in the world right now just to hurt other people and to take down other people. You just take a break, okay? Take about a year or two off here. We're tired of you. We're tired of you. Go bring some good ideas to the table. Go form a political party and go win yourself an election. So there we go. I think I'll take a break on blabbering. I showed my hand today, Val. For the first time, I showed my hand, and whether people like it or not, or question or not, you know what, Val? I don't care, because in my heart, I know I feel good about this. I know that the Alberta people were heard this time, including Val. There were, I won't even put a number out there. There's so many people that have never voted before and would never consider voting. They're that disenfranchised. But we identified them this time around, Val. So I'm going to turn it back to you. I think I've spoken enough here for the last 10 minutes or so.
Well, for those that are saying, no, we want more Greg, he is on a media tour today. So I was the first stop, which I really appreciate. And I just want to surmise for you what Greg has covered this morning. It's been a big, big show. I'm broadcasting from Canada. Greg is in the USA today. And today, full disclosure, numbers are out. And these numbers they are what is going to shake what it they're not just a number, they are your voices, they are your names, and I want you to know that that is safe. That is safe. That to put your name behind something, it hasn't just fallen, and we aren't going anywhere. These numbers are loud. They create a boom, and politicians are taking note. They have to, because if they're hired by the people, that means we're the boss. It is our job to manage our vote and to walk it out and to speak out and speak up bravely. And we know, for those that have voted, now there's chatter, right? Now the numbers are out. Full disclosure today, you took out the legal pad right from the very top.
Yeah.
People at the top are going to know. People at the bottom, at the household level, are going to know. You spoke to party leaders, even going so far as to contact the no's. I mean, this is what you call a forensic audit, so to speak, just the full integrity of this whole process. That's the beautiful part, to be in the position I'm in as an investigative journalist, to be able to say, okay, these are not just numbers. It belongs to this person. This person is reachable this way,
Right.
in person, by phone, all of that. Like it matters. And so this is today about learning we are not the little and the ant, we are the mighty and the many. And so I want to leave with you today, I think Greg and I will both agree on this, being American is in spirit, and Americans have a spirit about them that they don't cower. They stand up for what they believe, and they're willing to put it all on the line. And in Arizona, Sheriff Lamb, really, he travels from one side to the other, speaking this over and over and over, and it really empowers people. So I want the people of Alberta to know this is how we think and speak. Fear not, do right. So as you go out and you celebrate Alberta USA Day 2023, remember that. Fear not, do right, speak up, be encouraged. And just a shout out to our military, to those in service that work so hard. One message that they send to me often is this: the process is long. We will do our best to help you through that. May that bring you the courage that you need today. God bless Alberta. God bless the USA. And Greg, I'm going to have you close us out. Your final thoughts today.
Well, thank you. Val Olson News is indeed where new news gets its news, right? And you found out a little bit today of, well, where does new news gets its news? The answer there is Greg Meekin, right? So I'll close it out, and I really appreciate. I so appreciate you having me on, and I so appreciate. It's not just the folks that are listening, but this is going to be shared on multi platforms and likely around the world. So in this newfangled internet world, the first live conversation is just the beginning. That's where the shares start, as you say. That's where the chatter starts, etc. I'm going to finish out with just a couple of things, and I'll try. I know we're working on time here. But what I'm going to finish out, and I have to say this because it came to me earlier when you were talking about pastors out there, and I'm just going to share this. I didn't think I was going to today, but if there was one surprise that I had, and I'll tell you, I know a lot of pastors. I love all the pastors out there, both down in the United States here and up in Alberta. If there's one surprise here, is I didn't hear back from any pastors or any public commitments. And it finally hit me a day or two ago. I'm saying, because there were a lot of, there was kind of networking done, and I totally respect anyone's privacy, or whether it's, not a progressive concept to think to vote as a group up there. But I was surprised, and it finally hit me. And this is just Greg's op-ed theory, okay, Val? This is just my theory. I think the pastors in Alberta right now don't want to go public because they're afraid of being arrested. That's my theory. That's my theory. That's Greg. I've never seen anything like it. The thing that was surprising as this evolved is the people that didn't speak up. And I know there was so much fear involved. And sadly, I keep saying this. Sadly, I know it sounds emotional. They're afraid of their government, Val. I just have never seen this in my lifetime. As bad as it is in the States, generally speaking, the citizen has incredible rights, right down to Miranda and everything else. And usually the surveillance nonsense garbage is at the top, the top of the Washington, D.C. stuff. And so, if anything, this made me really sad. It made me really sad that so many people honestly are fearful. Also, as a side note, as kind of an extension to that, I see this overall issue now in my heart. It's almost an asylum issue or a refugee issue where there's simply so many people in Alberta that are frightened of their government right now. I can't believe I would ever have said that, Val, never mind on air. So I wanted to get that off my chest, and I did. And as a final note, other than a whole bunch of stuff, I encourage folks to follow Val Olson. And so many people ask me where they can find, stuff. I'll just absolutely do a quick plug here. A great site to find all of this information, not in addition to the ab51vote.com site, is my site, which is gregmeekin.com. It's never hard to remember. It's just my name. I don't believe in paying marketing people, so I just use my name. I love it. So gregmeekin.com, as most people know, the trending section of that website is where most of the Alberta stuff is, my writings. And also, people are asking me a lot about the About Greg. That's my bio. I've been writing more bio stuff in this last 24 hours because I'm going on multiple shows, including a wonderful, wonderful military veterans show based out of Virginia tonight. So gregmeekin.com. And also, I'm really proud of my YouTube channel. I launched a YouTube channel not long ago, and I did it more as an archive. I knew there was so much stuff being talked about in this last year and a half with you, with the Mike Phillips show, with others, Sheriff Mark Lamb. So I said, I'm not going to do a YouTube channel that's big or fancy or whatever. I just want to document. I want to archive, and just the experience of the last few years and the clips. There's hysterical stuff on there. There's educational stuff on there. There's radio shows, TV shows. But there are, it's going to be close to 500 videos on there right now, Val. And I think I've exceeded over 12,000 views. Again, a small site, but I really do encourage people to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Because unlike most folks, I put out a number of consistent videos every single week. Scoop here, I have a Val Olson show that's going to be coming up on my YouTube channel that is just being published today. And that was the Carson Meekin Alberta Crest show, Val. So that'll be going up today. So that's the kind of stuff you see on my YouTube channel. That's a shameless plug, but that's where a lot of the information is. And don't forget Alberta, ab51project.com, and of course the wonderful Facebook group, the 51st Statehood group, and American Rock Radio. My dear friend, Pastor Mike Phillip up in Edmonton. I'm going to be on with him in a half an hour. Here's your trivia of the day, Val. Write it down before we sign off. If my memory serves right, this is show 23 with you and me. Try your math out on that one, 23. And today is show number 38 of Dueling Citizens with Greg Meekin and Mike Phillip on the American Rock Radio Network. So if I would have told you a year ago that I would have appeared on over 60 radio shows and was now begged by Virginia Group to make it 62 or whatever it is, I would have never believed it, Val. So I thank you. I thank everybody listening to you today. Everybody. I encourage you to continue following the path here. As far as I'm concerned personally, I'm pleased that this task is over and I feel very comfortable. But I am also moving on in many ways. I've neglected my writing terribly, my authorship. I've committed so much, as you know, Val. So I will be moving on in a nice way where I'm going to devote, I say, starting July 6th, that's my wife's birthday, I'm going to devote more of my time to my writing. I definitely want to get out of politics. I feel like I need to take a shower right now talking about politics. But I will keep everyone posted. There's no question whatsoever. I'll be writing more and maybe doing more radio. But as far as I'm concerned right now, Val, I love it. Just like Wyatt Earp kept saying, I'm retired. I'm retired. Remember how he kept saying that? And I really do. I really do want to slow down a little bit and do what old retired guys do, which is spend more time with their family and friends. So there you go. And that's kind of an official sign off for me, Val. I really appreciate you keeping it on track today, and you did a great job.
Well, I know you have a busy day, Greg, so I'm going to let you sign off. You're on a full-blown media tour, but I just want to close out saying I see the comments that are coming in. There's a lot of you listening across Alberta. Mickey R. says, can you speak to whether or not Premier Smith knows about this and her response? If so, because it's real time, it's a live radio show, and because this is attracting, obviously, international attention, Premier Smith is going to have to respond to those numbers if she is sincere with what she's saying, that she represents all Albertans. We know that this truly, with the numbers out, her team is able to sit down and very clearly see that, wow, there's a lot of Albertans who want to be heard. And if she's going to do that, it's going to start today. So Premier Smith has been contacted. I have reached out to her live while we're doing the show here. And I've said, let's ask the Premier herself. The numbers are out. A massive amount of Albertans want to join the USA. Call me direct. So I've, shared my cell phone number, my email. As an international journalist, I look forward to hearing from her and her team. So on that note, God bless Alberta. Yes.
Do you mind if I say just a quick caveat to that? Not caveat, but I do want everybody, I mean this too, because I've heard this, it's so much the back and forth, and you're bringing up big issues here with Premier Smith. I continue to encourage people to, number one, be civil, and number two, I really like Danielle Smith. I've said this on air before, and I'm going to go off the cuff here because it's important. I really like and I respect Premier Smith. I think she's a really nice person. I know she came from a media background. I believe all Canadian politicians, I'm going to defend her 100% here, Val, as a dueling citizen. I believe all Canadian politicians, especially in Alberta, are strapped and they cannot speak their mind in that. You can't say certain things publicly like, I support AB 51. Just like Donald Trump down here in 1985, he said certain things you don't say in public because people will quote you and use it against you. I've heard from a number of politicians that there's a number of folks up there, I call them closet AB 51ers, that if they had what they have in the United States, a closed voting booth where it's secret and no one could take down their careers, take down their reputations, whatever, there are, I'm not going to say hundreds of thousands, but there's a bunch up there that if they got inside a voting booth, Val, they would vote yes for AB 51. And I totally understand. If public figures can't say that publicly. But in the end, whether it's Danielle Smith or any other leaders, my simple question is, no matter where you stand, and without argument or whatever, are you a yes? Are you a no? Or do you remain undecided? That's the only question I would ask to Premier Smith and these are nice folks up there, Val. Don't everybody yes. Trash each other here, okay? And especially on the same side. These are nice people. But I defend all my Canadian friends right now that they're shackled. They're shackled, including their mouths, to be of what they say. So that is a personal reach out to Premier Smith. We might not agree on everything. I guarantee you we don't agree on everything. But that doesn't mean we can't sit down and be dueling citizens, go back and forth, talk the issues, find common ground towards hopefully a common mission moving forward. But most importantly, shake hands and go away, friends. Shake hands and go away, friends. Okay?
I love that.
That's my sign off.
that's the American way. And that sounds to me like a friendly invitation. I love that. So, I've put my private info out there. So, that's what it's all about. It's about meeting, talking, chatting, and doing the best we can for Alberta. So today has been a great show. Go back, listen, share this broadcast with your friends. It's the Alberta51podcast.com.